Okay, so you've got your details for your Match Trader account and you now want to know how you can actually use them details on the Match Trader platform. This video is going to help you learn the basics and also some advanced features of Match Trader. You don't need to be with Ment Funding to use this video. It can be used for any broker or prop firm. So let's jump right into it.
Funding meant for traders. Ment Funding.
So the point I'm up to here is I've already received my login details by email, which consisted of an email login that I can use on Match Trader's login, which also had a link that I had from the prop firm, which I also used to log in. And I also had a password on my email as well, which is also what I used to log in. Having those three things are the only thing you really need to get in onto your Match Trader platform. So as soon as you open it, you'll probably see something like this, or you'll see something very similar along the lines of it if it's not with Ment Funding. So on the top left, you'll see you've got your account details, you've got your balance, your equity, your free funds from a margin and leverage perspective. You've got your margin that's been used, your margin level percentage, and your overall profit or loss for any running positions. If you hit this icon here, you can see you have an inbox for any notifications. You can look into your user settings, you can restart, you can install a desktop app, and you can learn a bit more about Match Trader. You can also change between light mode and dark mode through this button as well. Cool. Furthermore, after that, as you can see just above where my camera is, you've got top movers and you have got a watch list. This top movers basically looks at what's moving the most right now, as in this moment in time, and then it just prints the top three, or if you press this button here, it prints a few more things. So it'll show you what's moving, in which direction it's moving, and how much is moved by on a price value and also a percentage value based on the daily change. That's not really something that I use too much personally. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hide that feature by pressing this up arrow, and I'm going to focus on this watch list only. So it comes pre-filled normally, depending on which broker you're with, or depending on which platform you're with, which funding firm you're with. However, if you want to add more on that, you can easily do that. So if I go to all symbols, I've now got a list of 5 different sections. So I've got commodities, crypto, FX, indices, and popular. If we open up popular, we can see all the main ones. So you've got the DE40 here, you've got the S&P 500, and if you click this star next to them like I am doing now, you'll notice that these begin to populate in my favorite symbol. These symbols begin to populate in my favorites menu. So what I like to do here for my own watch list purposes is I go through and I basically delete everything that I don't need. So personally, I only watch things like gold, silver, oil, FX. Let's see what's already on there. Euro pound, I don't really watch that. Euro dollar, I don't really watch that. Pound yen, don't really watch that. Pound dollar, I do. Dollar Swiss I do, dollar yen. I think I deleted one before that I said I don't watch, but I do. So let's add that back on. And you'll notice here that it's actually a really simple process to add it back on. I can also type something like USD, and you'll notice that all the USD, whether that's USD XXX or XXX USD, will come up, and you can easily just add it to your watch list. So right now I'm just adding the things that are quite important to me that I actually look to trade, depending on if it's set up for my rules and my plan. Which leads me on to the next thing. If you started a prop firm competition or a prop firm challenge, or even a live account with Match Trader or with any platform under the sun, it's really important to have a trade plan. You can have a look at the other videos that I've done on this channel to learn about why it's important. And if you want to have a trade plan or learn how to create a trade plan, check out the MenTFX mentorship, which is also linked down below, or the free YouTube videos on the free YouTube MenTFX channel, where you can check out our mentor Anton and how he teaches, as well as some concepts that you can learn for free right now today and apply that knowledge into the live markets. Cool. So I've added a bunch of things, and that's pretty cool. So right now, as you can see, all I've got here is I've also got a watch list on the left, and I've got a breakdown here of 4 charts. And you might be wondering, well, how have I done that? So I'm going to go through the controls as to how you can change this around. So if I go back to what it would look like initially, it would look a bit like this for you when you first load up your Match Trader. So in order to change that to a multi-chart layout, all you have to do here is on the menu at the top, you've got a bunch of options. You've got about 8 to 10 options here. So we'll go from left to right. The first option here is changing the time frame. So you've got the M1, which stands for the minute one, i.e. the 1 minute, all the way to the MN1, which is 1 month. So you've got quite a lot of data that you can easily open up here. So I've got 5 minute, 15, 30 minute, 1 hour, 4 hour, daily, weekly, and monthly. Right now, at this moment in time, you can't really choose a custom time frame. So personally, for me, how I like to trade is I like to have my trading view open on one side and then my execution platform, in this case, MatchTrader, open on another side or another screen. So it basically lets me use the best of both worlds, so to speak. If you want to exclusively use MatchTrader, that's completely fine as well. It is more than capable of doing that. The next one here is the charts. You can either use bar candles or you can use the line chart like this. So I'm going to use bar candles. The next one here is how you can set these layouts. Normally on TradingView, this is a paid for feature. However, on MatchTrader, it's actually completely free to use, which is fantastic. So what I did before was I had a 4 chart layout by clicking this button here, and I had the 1 minute, the 5 minute, the 1 hour, and let's change this to the 4 hour. So, let's try that again. Okay, it is a 4 hour. Don't know why that's not updating, but it's definitely 4 hour from what I can see down below. So I've got 1 minute, 5 minute, 1 hour, and 4 hour. I can also then zoom in to a chart. So if I'm clicking on any of these charts, I can zoom in and zoom out pretty easily. You can also do this with the scroll wheel. However, I prefer to do it with the buttons because that's what the buttons are there for. You can also go full screen by pressing that. I'm not going to go full screen. Well, actually, I could. Oh, it's not going full screen. My bad. Full screen's elsewhere. This actually opens up the open, high, low, close, and also the time of the current candle. So right now, if I go over the current candle, you'll notice that is the 7:15 a.m. candle. And this has an open of that value, high, low, and close of those values. I can also move my mouse back and click anywhere. And I actually don't even need to click it, just updates as I do that, which is really useful. That's something I've just learned now. And I can easily look at what the open, high, low, close was of different times. Let's click out of that. And you can also do that on any of the other charts. So as you can see, if I click on this chart here and I open up one of the tools, if I then go to another chart, it basically won't let me see the same details on one chart as it does the other. It basically uses the tool once at a time to avoid cluttering your screen. Okay, and then you can use some of these tools as well. So you've got a fib tool, trend line, horizontal line, channel, and vertical line. So I'll use one of the tools. I'll just apply it to one of my charts. And as you can see here, you can basically choose between, millions of colors here, all across the RGB spectrum. You can also choose the different sizes all the way up until 5 points or from 1 point. And you can delete the tool or delete the line by pressing the little cross. You can add as many as you want onto your charts, which is really useful. If you press this next button, this opens up an indicator list. So you've got a bunch of really cool and really useful indicators if you are an indicator-based trader. The only indicator that the MentFX team tend to use is the moving average. So I'm going to click moving average and I'm going to type in a 200 EMA, and let's do that let's start in a white color and let's add moving average. And just to make things easier, I'm going to go back to a 1 chart layout so you can see what I'm looking at. So right now, as you can see on this time frame, which is the 1 minute chart, I can see a 200 EMA. If I go to a 30 minute, I can see that same 200 exponential moving average based on a 30-minute time frame. Let's zoom out of it so we can see exactly what I'm looking at. And there we go. So that might be something that you're already very familiar with, which is perfect. The next tool here is a little settings cog. You can enable or disable the grid, and you can also enable or disable seeing your positions on the charts. And yeah, that's basically all the main sections that you really need. If you're scrolled all the way back and you want to get to current price, you can press this button here, and that will fast forward to the current price action. So that's all the charting controls, and then the full screen button is actually here. So I got that wrong before. The full screen button is on the complete right hand side. You can also see your signal strength, and you can see your ping/latency to the broker or the platform, which is really useful to have as well. You can also see the platform time that your broker is currently using in this moment in time, which again is another really useful feature to have. Okay, so now we've gone through the top half of how all this platform works. The bottom half here, I'm going to explain a bit more as we're actually trading. So the bottom half has open positions, pending orders, finance, and closed positions. So we'll keep it on pending orders for the moment because I'm going to set a pending order to show you guys how to do that and what it looks like. So let's head over to one of our charts and let's head over to pound dollar. So before I actually set a position, a couple of other buttons that I wanted to go through is these on the top here. If you press this information icon, it blows up a really cool layout based on any upcoming news that you might want to be wary of, as well as the current low and the current high of the daily trading range, and also the daily range, the weekly range, and the monthly range of that market. If you press details, you can see what your broker or prop firm has set the leverage to. In this case, as per Ment Funding rules, we have a 1 to 20 leverage. You can also see a bunch of other details, which is really useful to know, as well as the market opening and closing hours. You can also see what your swap ends up being in a pip value, the minimum position size, the point size, and the asset class. So these are all useful things if you do need them. However, all you really need to focus on here, mainly from my personal perspective and my opinion, again, not financial advice, is the leverage and have a good understanding as to how leverage works. We will probably do some type of separate video down the line as to how leverage works. Cool. So you'll notice as well, when I click that button, it did have a button that said new order on here. However, there's an easier way to access the new order menu, which is what I'll show you. So on the left-hand side on your watch list, if you click on any of these symbols, it will automatically change the main chart to that symbol, similar to how TradingView works. If I click euro dollar, and I can now click new order here. So if I click new order, this will open up the order panel, or the new order panel, so to speak. And like I said, I'm going to start off with the pending order to show you guys how it works. So you'll notice as soon as I clicked pending order, I saw a orange line appear here that said pending on it. Now, it's as simple as this. Let's say I wanted to trade a 5-minute time frame, and my pending order, I wanted it to be above the 200 EMA. So as soon as price starts trading above that 200 EMA, I want my pending order to be executed. So let's drag this pending order just above where that EMA is right now. So it's not a dynamically moving one, meaning that it won't move as the EMA is moving. So that is something that I can change down the line. But let's just say right now, my plan has been met that I set my order above the 200 EMA, which is what I've done here. I can then set a stop loss by pressing the stop loss button here. And as you'll notice here, a stop loss figure now shows. So let's say I want my stop loss at the current lows, which is basically around here. Let's also zoom in so we can easily see the current charts a bit better. There we go. And you'll notice here, you'll be like, well, okay, how do I know what type of lot size to actually use here? So it's already entered your price for where your stop loss is. You can also change this here. You can manually type it here, and you'll see what the value is for that as well overall. And again, you can manually type that in as well. So if I have a 10 pip fixed stop loss, I can simply type in 10, and that will put my stop loss to 10 pips. Or if I have a 1 pip stop loss, I can type in 1, and that will have my stop loss to 1 pips. Let's just move back down to where it was before. So in order to set this percentage risk, all I have to do is basically mess around with this volume number. So I know right now, if I was to risk a 0.01 lot or a 0.01 lot in other languages, that is basically entering me in with a 0% risk, because I don't lose enough. I can't really profit anything from this move. If I change this to 5 lots, you'll notice that that has changed my percentage risk to 0.98%, meaning that if this trade was to be a loss, which as we know is part of the game, that will mean that I lose 0.98%. I can up that a bit to change it to exactly 1% if I wanted to as well. So it's as simple as that. Just mess around with that number until you find your perfect lot size. And that is actually much quicker than using a lot of the lot size calculators or position size calculators you might see online on other websites. And it's the same thing for the take profit. So as soon as I hit the take profit button, you'll notice that a new TP line has been set. Obviously, it's in good practice to set your take profit higher than where you set your market limit order or your market stop order, because why would you want to take profit in a loss? So let's move my take profit somewhere around here. And you'll notice as I've done that, that now sets my take profit to 1.24% profit at this price point. I can also zoom out a bit here, and I can set it to something like, say, I wanted to take profit at these highs there, just like that. Let me zoom out a bit more so I can do that a bit better. There we go. So I now know that if I was to enter this trade, I'm going to lose 1% if it hits my stop loss, and I'm going to gain 2.95% if it hits my take profit. Say I wanted to risk just 0.5%, all I have to do now is half this number to something like 2.52, and that'll mean that I only risk 0.49%. I can also add a bit to change that to a solid 0.5%. If I wanted to risk 2%, how do you think I'd do it? That's right. I change it to something like 10.02 or 10.0, 10.1, 10.15, maybe add a tiny bit more. There we go, 2%. And you'll see how quick that took me to do it. It didn't take me, a whole 5 minutes to work that out through a few different websites. It was a matter of a couple of minutes to do that. And then as soon as I press buy stop, that will enter me in on a buy stop. So I've now entered a buy stop. Down here, I can see what the volume of that position is. I can see the activation price. I can see the stop loss. I can see the take profit. I can see what the order type is and what symbol it's on, as well as the ID. If you reach out to us here at Ment Funding, it is really important that you include the ID so we can see what trade you're actually speaking about. Say I wanted to cancel this order. I don't want to enter this trade anymore. All I need to do is hit this button. But before I do that, you'll notice that this button or this panel is still showing. And if I click and buy stop, it's just going to enter me in loads of positions here. This can be really useful if you want to split your positions and manage them differently. However, what I'm trying to show here is that as soon as you've entered one position, you don't need to keep clicking it. You can hit the X here to exit out of the order panel, and you've got your position down here and you have your position set. If I now click through a different symbol, that position is still there, and I can easily click back through to euro dollar and I can easily load up that position again. It is really, really as simple as that. So now let's say that I want to close this position. Let's say my rules were not met and I want to exit this position. All I have to do now is just press this button, this X, and it will close that position for me. It's as simple as that. Okay, so that was setting a limit order, or the same thing will go for a stop order. So now if I want to enter a market execution order, all I have to do here is press new order, market execution. Let's say that I want to add a stop loss again below these lows here, and I want to risk about 1%. So let's say 5 lots makes me risk 0.24%, 10 lots makes me risk 0.5%ish. So I want to enter at 20 lots. Okay, and you'll notice that this number here, or this percentage value, is increasing, and my required margin is also increasing. This is very heavily tied to the leverage that you have available on your account, or that you have set on your account from your broker or your prop firm. So, for example, if I was to change this to something like 50 lots, you'll notice that this is not a position that I can enter because I do not have enough leverage and do not subsequently have enough margin to enter a position like that. So rather than me setting the order and then the broker just cancelling the order as the time comes, the system here, MatchTrader, will actually tell you when you cannot enter a position that large, and then it will say insufficient funds, reduce the volume, or make a deposit. So obviously in this case we cannot make a deposit because it is a competition account. I'm going to look to reduce the value of that to say 25, and I'll notice that that's going to use 67% of my margin, and that makes me risk about 1.4%. I want to risk 1% of my balance. I'm going to change this back down to about 20. So I know that now roughly around 20 lots is going to risk 1%. All I have to do now is hit buy, and immediately I'm triggered into a buy position. As you can see here, the buy position is set, and if I head over to my open positions, you'll notice on the bottom I've got all the details here for that open position. Simple as that. Okay, there's no faffing around it. It's really as simple as that. Obviously right now I can't click buy again because I do not have enough margin, and you will receive a notification on the top right saying that you don't have enough margin to enter another position. Again, if you want to learn more about margin, leverage and risk, do a lot of research online before you actually start entering trades. We will do some type of video on this channel going more in depth into margin and into risk to help you guys have a better understanding of it. But like we say always, this is not financial advice. We're not telling you how to trade. Do your due diligence beforehand. Let's say now I want to move my stop loss. Okay, so let's say, for example, let's zoom in on here a bit, and I want to move my stop loss to just below this 200 EMA. All I have to do now, let's click out of this first, is basically drag this stop loss just above and let go. And just like that, my stop loss has been moved. And it's really, really as simple as that. There's no messing around with it. It is literally as simple as that. And you'll notice down here that my stop loss has been changed to 1.07542, which is basically exactly where this is. This is at basically 1.07542. Okay, and I can also partial, and the way that you can partial out of your positions is if you click this little edit icon on the bottom right, and you set your partial close. So let's say I want to exit 10 lots of my position. All I have to do here is type in 10 lots, press save, and it will exit 10 positions. basically. So now if I go into my closed positions, I can now see that 10 positions has been closed and I have took a profit of $110 minus a $70 commission. So it's really basically as simple as that. You can also expand the list to see all, in a big drop down or in a big list, basically. You can do that as well. You can do a lot with this, which is really, really cool. And I really, really like this platform just because of how flexible it is and how simple it is to actually use. You'll notice that as price is moving along, you've got two lines. That's obviously the bid and ask line. So for example, if I entered a buy, or if I entered if I set a buy limit order, as long as the top line hits that buy limit, the bottom line triggers me in, basically. And that's how limit orders work. But like I say, we'll do a separate video going into order types and how they work. But that is basically how you can trade your Match Trader account. It's really, really as simple as that. There's no point trying to overcomplicate it or trying to make it more difficult than it actually is. You can also add a take profit after the fact as well, I believe. So if I just go to open positions, take profit, I press a little add icon here. Now I can add a take profit, simple as that. So if I want to add a take profit at, let's say 200, so that is 200 or 20 pips above current price. I think it would work out to, oh no, it'd work out to something basically. Obviously it's based on the current price. Let's say if I zoom out here for a second and I want to have my take profit above these highs here, I can add a horizontal line right about here. Okay, and I now know that that horizontal line is 1.07818. So I can now add a take profit to 1.07818. And can press save, and that now means that for this trade, so I can basically get rid of that line now by pressing this little cross. I now know for this trade, if that hits my take profit, I'm going to profit roughly whatever percentage it told me before, that 1% odd. You can also enter quick orders from here. So if I close out this position real quick, I can say, let's say, for example, I trade just by entering a position, just like that. I can enter a buy position just like that, and it enters me into that buy position. And I can also close that buy position just like that as well. So it is really as simple as that. Obviously, do your risk management. Make sure you set your stop losses straight away. Make sure you set your take profits if take profits is what you use. And that is basically as simple as how this needs to be. Like I said, there's no point overcomplicating it, and I'm going to keep it as simple as that. If you want to try this out on a demo account, if you head over to the Match Trader website, so head over to match-trader.com and you press the option that says you are a trader. If you head over to the top right, you can press try demo and you can sign up to a demo account to test out before you actually start trading on your competition or your prop firm or your brokerage accounts. And if you want to have a go at taking part in a Ment Funding competition, right now we do have an ongoing competition going on. We have prizes that range all the way up until $200,000 evaluation accounts, ranging down from $5,000 evaluation accounts. All you have to do is head over to mentfunding.com, which is our website, head over to the competition tab, which will lead you to this page here. Hit register. Once you've hit register, fill in your details on the next page so we know who you are. If you've already got an account, you can press already have an account, log in here, and it's really, again, as simple as that. And that is how you can register for a Ment Funding evaluation account. You'll receive all the details to your email address. Please do check your junk folder if it's not in your main inbox. And if you do have any other issues, reach out to our support team over on our Discord. There's a link down below in the description as to how you can do that. And that is as simple as this video is going to be. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you go into your challenge or into your competition a bit more confident now that you know how to use this platform. And I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day and safe trading.